Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to my vlog for the Final Book Support Group's long weekend round. So this is going to be a 4-day vlog where I tackle nothing but sequels. So I'm currently in the midst of 2 sequels. The first is Heart of the Sunwire, and the second is Mad Ship. I don't know how much I'm going to read of these, but they are possibilities since I am partway through them. As for my actual TBR, I have Art Attacks for continuous series that features like graphic novels, manga, short stories, etc. I have Heatwave for finish a series. Festergrim for most recent purchase. The One and Only Bob for poll pick. And then I have Caught Red-Handed for continuation station. If I have time, and this one will probably definitely get read, I'm going to do Katie the Cat Sitter's Secrets and Sidekicks, because this is the most recent book in the Katie the Cat Sitter series, and it's a graphic novel. I will probably read that tonight. And then I also have Fudge and Jury, which is the sequel to Caught Red-Handed. So we will see how much I can get through this weekend. I'm feeling pretty confident about this because graphic novels, which I have 2 of, should be very fast reads. I have a couple of middle grades, which should be fast reads. And then cozy mysteries tend to be fast reads for me as well. So the one that's going to take the longest that's on my TBR is Heatwave. And then, like I said, I have a couple of adult fantasies that I'm in the midst of that are parts of series. So that is my plan for this weekend. We shall see how it goes. I also have a pay-per-view on Sunday. So Sunday evening, I will be doing nothing but watching wrestling. I will not be reading. I already know that now. And on top of that, I have to put in captions and kind of fill out the description and make the thumbnail for my Phase 10 TBR. I have to film, edit, upload, and do all of what I just mentioned, like caption, that kind of stuff, for both my Queer Lit Readathon and my Camp Season-a-thon TBRs. And if I have time, I would like to finish editing and uploading and all of that, my book haul. And then there's 2 videos I could film that have nothing to do with that, and that's my unhaul, which I really want to film because I have books everywhere that I want to unhaul, and I'd like to get up in Pango, and I can't until I film my unhaul. I keep putting it off. And then the other one, which I might do and is going to depend on how much time I have tomorrow and how froggy I'm feeling, is a 5 on Friday where I recommend some queer books, given that we're headed into Pride Month and I'm doing Queer Lit-a-thon. So I don't know. We'll see how tomorrow goes. If not, I can always add that to my June schedule, because if I can film it, even if it doesn't upload for this Friday, I can always post it on, I think it's the 2nd. Yeah, the 2nd it looks like. So we'll see how it goes. I've got a lot of plans, and to do those, I need to go read. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll see how much I can get through, and maybe I will check back in with you tomorrow if I've actually read some stuff, because I feel like there's a good chunk of this TBR that I'm going to read very quickly. So I'm going to go read, and I'll check back in with you all soon. Monday, and I have been crap at checking in. I wanted to check in on Saturday, but it was like every single time I sat down to even think about filming, there was noise. Some kind of noise somewhere. It was like everybody decided to get noisy all at the same time. And then it just didn't happen. And then today, I completely forgot that I didn't check in yesterday because my brain was like, right, I checked in yesterday and then I'll check in tomorrow. So, yeah. And by the time I remembered the pay-per-view was on, so I wasn't going to film during the pay-per-view because I was watching the pay-per-view. So, all of that being said, I've read quite a bit. First, I finished Doodleville Art Attacks, and I gave this book 4.25 stars. This is the second book in the Doodleville duology, which I did not realize it was a duology until I got to the end, where it said in the bio about the author, Doodleville is a duology. So I have finished a series. Who knew? In this one, Drew and co have to deal with some massive things going on. I want to say the Art Institute of Chicago. And basically, there's just chaos going on, and the Doodles get involved, and Drew and the rest of her art club have to kind of sort things out. And it's not all smooth sailing. I really, really enjoyed this one as well. I'm sad that it's a duology because I had a lot of fun with this series. I really like the way the art comes to life, and, you know, we get to, you know, see them tour the museum, and then they have to deal with the Doodles. They have little text message chains. So I really like the art style and how that kind of pulls the story together. I like the relationships between the characters and the speed bumps that they encounter in this and how they kind of get around them. This is such a good series, and it makes me really want to pick up Cardboard Kingdom, which I also own by Chad Sell, because I like the way he does his graphic novels. So maybe that will be a graphic novel series I start soonish. Then I read Caught Red-Handed, and I gave this book 3.75 stars. This is the fourth book, I believe, in the Bake Shop Mystery series, and in this one, we're following Jules, who helps run a bakery with her mom, and Jules ends up finding the body of a new restaurant owner, and it immediately becomes suspicious, and Jules starts to try to put together the pieces as to who could have possibly wanted to kill this new restaurant owner, and this one wasn't my favorite. So, in this series, we're dealing with Jules, who, when she comes home in the first book, because she's been away, she's been on a cruise ship with her husband working in the kitchen on the cruise ship, and she and her husband is separated, but we don't know why, and the husband has popped up. I don't like him. I don't like the relationship. I cannot stand him as a character, and he featured heavily in this book, which is what brought my rating down. I like the mystery aspect. I like the bakery aspect. I do not like the relationship between Jules and her husband, so that's a little bit frustrating. But the mystery was fun. I really enjoyed it, trying to piece together who wanted it out for Mindy and why, and kind of how that came together. It was just a little frustrating that I also had to deal with Jules' husband at the same time. Then I read Secrets and Sidekicks by Colleen A.F. Venable and Stephanie Yu. And I gave this book 4.25 stars. This is the third and most recent book in the Katie the Cat Sitter series. And in this series, Katie ends up cat sitting for an upstairs neighbor who has 217 very intriguing cats. And she thinks that her upstairs neighbor might actually be the villain, the Mousetress. I absolutely adore this series. I love getting to see all of the kitties, and we get to see new ones in each book. I loved getting to see Katie work more with these cats and kind of explore her world, learn more about these superheroes and these supervillains. I like the case that was tackled in this one, because there's always something that is kind of driving Katie and the cats and their focus. This is just such a cute, enjoyable series for me. And I like that you also see Katie explore some, like, real life stuff, drama with her mom, drama with her friends, stuff like that, even though you're in a world where there's, you know, superheroes and supervillains and stuff like that. So really, really enjoying this series and cannot wait to pick up book 4. Then I read Fudge and Jury, which is the fifth book in the Bake Shop Mystery series, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. Want to guess who wasn't in it? Yes, there was no husband in this one. In this one, Jules and her mom are at this, I want to say, like, chocolate fair or, like, chocolate festival in town, and a very famous or well-known chocolatier shows up, or some kind of chef baker. I don't have the physical book. I only listened to it, and I never even read the description, so I'm trying to remember, like, what his exact title was, but he ends up eating one of their desserts that they have available there, and immediately goes into anaphylactic shock and dies. And basically from there, it is trying to figure out how he managed to get nuts, because he's allergic to nuts, because Jules knows that, well, it wasn't her. So it kind of goes from there with her trying to piece together how this man could have possibly died when the last thing he ate was something Jules baked, and she's like as close to positive as one can be that there's no way there could have been any sort of nut product in her baking, which means in her mind somebody had to have put it there or somehow slipped him somewhere else, and the case kind of ensues from there. I really, really enjoyed this one. Like I said, the husband was not around, so yeah, that definitely brought up my rating. I was so intrigued by this mystery of how did somebody die from anaphylactic shock from what looks to be a dessert with no nuts in it. So that was really, really intriguing. I liked getting to see some of the story progression with Jules in the bake shop because that was going on as well. And like I said, there was less focus on Jules and her husband, so that's always a thumbs up for me. Then I read Heatwave by TJ Klune, and I gave this book 4 stars. This is the last book in the Extraordinaries trilogy, so I have now finished another series. This one was tricky because the way it starts was extremely confusing. And I think if I had read it right after book 2, or if I had reread book 2, it wouldn't have been. But I spent a lot of time going, wait, what's going on? This doesn't seem right. And then literally Googling because I was trying to figure out what it was that I was missing, because I felt like I had missed an entire book. So like I had to Google the end of the last book to remember how the last book ended because I felt like I was missing something, but I wasn't. And this would have made a lot more sense if I had just read it at the end of book 2, but I obviously couldn't do that because when I read book 2, this one wasn't out yet. So I could see if I were to reread this, and I don't particularly think this would be a series that I would. I don't think I enjoyed it enough to want to reread it, but I feel like a 4-star rating is fair because I was confused, but if I had read it closer to book 2, I think it probably would have gone a 4.25. I don't think it would have hit 4.5, but maybe a 4.25. This series follows Nick, who in the first book writes fanfic about the Extraordinaries, who are superheroes and supervillains that are a part of his town, and we kind of see him interact with them, deal with them, have relationships with his best friend who he just so happens to have a crush on. It's a really, really interesting series because it's got a lot of queer rep in it, and Nick is neurodivergent because he has ADHD, so I like that that's also represented within the series. But like I said, I think I would have enjoyed it more had I read it and not spent the first 100 pages completely confused. And then the last book I have read since I started this vlog is Festergrim, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. This is the most recent book in the Arion C series, and in this book, Herbie and Violet are dealing with Festergrim, which is this robot legend who was created by Ludo Festergrim and is kind of a Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, sort of, because the monster ends up going crazy, but was it the monster or was it the creator of the monster? So there's kind of that legend, and that factors in heavily into what Herbie and Violet are up to in this one, and I really, really enjoyed what they got up to in this one. The visuals in this were amazing, the way Thomas Taylor brought the waxwork museum, for instance, which I won't tell you more about, but the way he brought that to life and really gave you the vibes of being there was brilliant. There's amazing illustrations throughout as well. And the illustrator is Tom Booth, in case you were wondering. Amazing illustrations by Tom Booth that really add to the story and the atmosphere of the story. I believe I've seen something about book 5 being the last book in the Arion C series, which makes me very sad. But also I'm very, very curious to see how Herbie and Violet's stories wrap up. So looking forward to that. Really enjoyed this one. And yeah, caught up on another series. So I've made progress in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series. I finished 2, caught up in 2, and then I have the Bake Shop Mystery series, which I've only made progress in because there's a bunch of them, and I'm nowhere near caught up in that. And then the only other book I have that was on my TBR was my poll pick, and that's The One and Only Bob. And I believe with the audiobook, this is going to take me a little over an hour. So I'm not really worried about not getting to this, because I absolutely will. It's a 5-star prediction, so I'm hoping I love it. And yeah, that's my plan tonight, is to hopefully read this. And then tomorrow, I'm going to go back to these. And I say tomorrow like it isn't already Monday. But, like, I haven't been to bed yet, so it's not really tomorrow in my brain. But I will go back to these two. I don't know which I will focus on. Maybe this one, because that would finish another series, because it's a duology. So, yeah, maybe this one, because then I can mark another series off of my list. But this one is also on my Phase 10 TBR, and is the last book I need to finish for that. So, I don't know. We'll see. I might actually be able to get to both of them, because it's going to kind of depend on how focused I am, how much I have to do, and, like, how much reading I get done. Because I know tomorrow I have to film. I have 2 TBRs I need to film. They were also supposed to get filmed Saturday and did not, because noise. And then today was hot. So I was not going to film TBRs, because it is one thing to turn the fan off for a quick vlog update. It is another thing to turn the fan off to actually sit down and film for what would probably be like an hour. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow Chris's problem. Tonight, Chris's problem is going to be reading, which really isn't a problem at all. So I'm going to do that, and I will check back in with you probably early Tuesday morning after midnight to wrap this vlog up. Tuesday, which means that the latest round of the Final Book Support Group is now closed. I never did get around to participating in sprints. Yesterday was quite crazy, and I basically read, like, nothing after I got up. I filmed 5 videos, and then I had to edit, and then before I upload, I do a rewatch, and then I had to wait for the video to upload, and then I was working on captions and just all kinds of channel stuff, so I did not get around to reading anything yesterday. Can you see Porky back there? Hi, Pork! I didn't get around to reading, but I did read before bed the night before, and I finished The One and Only Bob. This is a 5-star prediction, so I won't be talking about it in this video, but I did read the entirety of it before I went to bed, so that was basically the only thing I read yesterday. But this was the last book I needed to complete kind of my TBR, so win? I had a lot of fun during this round. I'm trying to think. I made a lot of progress on my series. I think I finished a few. I'm up to date in a few. So yeah, very successful round of the Final Book Support Group, and I look forward to participating next time. So that's all for this vlog. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me dog emojis in honor of Bob. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!